Hey, welcome to this series on how to find motivated sellers using Facebook ads. Now, if you are on this video and you haven't watched any of my previous videos, because this is video number 4 of my 4-part series, then you have got to go back and watch the first video. Otherwise, you're going to be lost here. If you have watched the rest of the videos, then of course that you know that we're right at the finish line, because now up to this point, you've gotten your ads up and running. You are having motivated sellers raising their hands and saying, please, I would like to speak with you about selling my property. And now, how does it all work? How do you get the leads? How do you talk to them? What do you say to them? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. And the purpose of this video is to really give you the final closure that you need in order for you to understand how this whole system works. So now you can start to implement it yourself, because it is, I consider it to be a liberation strategy. You know what a liberation strategy is? Liberation is when you save someone from something that they are oppressed with. And you know what you're oppressed with is the fact that you're sending out postcards and cold calling, and you are wanting to poke your head with pencils and all kinds of stuff like that. Why? Because it's very, very tough, and you don't seem to be having the results that you should be having, and everybody's calling these people. So this is what I want to do for you. And of course, as you saw in the previous videos, the best way for me to do this is to actually show you my computer screen. So why don't we go ahead and cut to the chase, and let me show you exactly the next and the final step in our journey. So this is the final video in our series on how to find motivated sellers using Facebook advertising. This is part 4. And as always, I have already covered step 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're here and you haven't seen the rest of these, go ahead and go to the description of this video. I'm going to have all the links to all the different videos in case maybe you miss one, or maybe you're just landing on this one and you got to go back to video number 1 and find that video, start with that one, and then you're going to come back here. And so now up to this point, in less than 24 hours, what you've done, if you followed my series, you have your first ad up and running and live, and it's producing leads for you. You're having 2 to 3 sellers a day submitting their information, asking to speak with you about their property. So you're not chasing them. They're raising their hands and asking to speak with you. And now you're further ahead than 95% of the rest of the real estate investors out there. Now, how are you going to access these leads? Because once, let's say you launch your campaign, then the next question is, how do these leads get to me? Does Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, hand deliver to me in an envelope every day these leads? Do they come and send them to me? Well, it's a little bit easier than that. Is that you have a couple different options. Number one is, it really depends on you. You can send them to your CRM. A CRM is like your contact management system. If you're using Podio, you're using Freedom Soft, you're using Follow Up Boss, whatever the system is that you're using. And I'm just rattling these off from the top of my head. There's a lot more in terms of CRMs. But you can take your leads and send them directly into your CRM. If you don't have a CRM and you're just starting out in the business, you could just easily send the leads to your email address. So you just get an email from Facebook telling you, hey, you've got a new lead, and you just call them. What an amazing thing, right? Not that complicated. You can also send them to your phone as a text message. You can actually do all 3 of them simultaneously. Send them to your CRM, send it to your email, and send it to your phone as a text message, and or anyone else that you're working with. So the options are plentiful. That's a great thing about dealing with a platform like Facebook. There's so many other CRMs and integrations available in order to make your life easier when it comes to once you generate these leads, how do they get to you? And the strategies to make money from these leads, it really depends on what you're looking to do. As I mentioned before, if you're a wholesaler, which is predominantly my business model, you're going to generate leads that you can wholesale. You can also do virtual wholesaling. This makes virtual wholesaling a lot easier. You can attack a bunch of different markets. You can attack your entire state. As I mentioned in the previous videos, that you can target a county. You can target multiple counties together. Now, the other parts here, lease option and or listings, are additional ways here to monetize your leads. I don't have this on here, but also creative financing. If you're able to do subject to financing. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to cover that in that video, so don't worry about it. But the more options you have of things that you can do with these leads, the better you're going to be, because now you're going to be able to take, even if you're only making a small amount of money from these leads, the benefit is that any little money goes toward marketing. So even if you made a small amount of money because you referred it to an agent, or maybe you did a lease option and you didn't make as much money as a big wholesaling deal, you're still able to use that money to pay for some of your marketing. So if your marketing is free, that means that whenever you get a deal, then that deal is complete profit. Another option here is, what if you learn how to do this, and what if you then decided to, partner up with another real estate investor who doesn't know how to do this, and you run the ads, you generate the leads, and they handle everything, and then now you split the deals. They're going to do that with you because of the fact that you're able to do something that they have no clue about. And so there's so many strategies, there's so many ways to make money from this strategy. And just remember this is very important. These leads raised their hands and requested a conversation with you. You are not chasing them. You are not fighting with other real estate investors to get these leads. You're not a pest, but you're a welcome guest. Very, very important. That's one of the reasons I never like cold calling. You're out there chasing people down, and a lot. And right now, in the past couple of years ago, cold calling, not that many people were doing cold calling, so you had these lists to yourself. But now there's so many people doing cold calling that it is very, very, very competitive. Now, when you get that person over the phone, because of the fact of that they raised their hand and requested to speak with you, the conversation's a lot easier too as well. The conversation is, hey, is this Jack? Let's say I get a lead. I say, hey, is this, and I call that person up. Hi, is this Jack? Hey, Jack, this is Chris from Cris Buys Houses. You saw my post on Facebook the other day. I was looking for a few properties to buy. You filled out the form. Does that ring a bell? And they'll be like, yeah, I do remember. Great. Love to chat with you and get more details about the property to see if I can make you an offer. You got a minute? And they'll say, yes, I do have a minute. And great. And now you get into that conversation. Very, very easy. And they're much more pleasant and less combative conversations than when you're trying to cold call somebody. Now, how many leads does it take to get a deal? Now, that's a very, very good question, and that's a question that I get asked all the time. So let me share with you an example of Henry. Now, Henry got 30 leads, and he was able to get his first deal for an assignment fee of $18,500. Now, 30 leads to then get a deal for $18,500. Is that good, or is that bad, or is that kind of in the middle? So when it comes to that question of how many leads does it take in order for you to get a deal, no one can answer that. There are way too many variables. There are benchmarks, right? So for example, I would say, you want to keep your lead cost at about $30 a lead. And if you generate 50 leads, you should have enough opportunities to be able to get a deal closed. Now with Henry, for example, he did it in 30 leads. Now why is that? Well, Henry knows what he's doing. He knows how to talk to sellers. He's done many deals before. So there's a lot of variables there that are completely eliminated. Now, so he's going to have an easier time with you, with getting a deal across the table and getting it done versus you are going to, if you haven't done a deal before, if you're just starting out, if you don't have a buyer's list. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that to discourage you. However, keep in mind is that applies to any lead generation method. Even if you're doing direct mail, even if you're doing Google pay-per-click, even if you're doing cold calling, if you are brand new in the business, then you are going to need more at-bats in order to successfully put a deal together. It's the nature of the beast. Now, the benefit with Facebook is that it's a bit more forgiving, that you can generate leads more affordably, that now you're not in competition with other real estate investors. And so there's definitely things stacked in your favor. But again, the difference in you getting a deal and Henry getting a deal with only 30 leads and you taking 50 to 60 leads to get a deal, the difference there is the fact that maybe Henry might have some advantages that you can also be able to successfully gather those advantages over time as you get better. But, bottom line, there's never any magic pill. I think you know that. I would never say that. You have advantages that you can put. There's things that you can put into your favor when it comes to being out there and trying to successfully do deals. And again, that is a better strategy, better capabilities, be better at talking with sellers and have great conversations, etc. And so that is the end of the training, my 4-part series on how to find motivated sellers on Facebook. So are you interested in implementing the strategy? If you are, there's a link in the description that'll give you more information on my program and how I can show you step by step how to do this and give you the help and support you need to do that. And there's a lot of case studies. There's one somewhere around here that shows up, a case study, most recent case study of an interview that I did with a client that'll teach you and show you, hey, what are the success that people are having with this and how does it all work? You get to hear from real people. So click on one of these here and I'll see you in the next video.